like the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
We welcome you to another edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. He's Robbie, I'm Tyler. We're here to talk fantasy racing as we do each and every Friday, and we appreciate you making us a part of your Friday. Robbie Mays, Martin Truex Jr., 4 wins now on the season, the latest coming at the Glen. Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive when you consider the fact that this time last year, you know how many wins he had? 1. Yeah. He had 1, the 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And, you know, he may not have been the fastest. Okay, fine. He wasn't the best car at Watkins Glen over the weekend. I think everybody on Planet Universe agrees that Kyle Busch had the best car all weekend long. He was fast in practice. He won the pole for the 3rd straight race in a row, 6 of the season. And if it wasn't until the lug nut got jammed up in between the wheel and the hub during the first pit stop, and then spinning out in the bus stop with Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch was going to win that race. I think Kyle Busch right now, Tyler, is out to prove that he is the best driver in the sport. He struggled for so long this year to finally get a win. Got it last week at Pocono. He was on a mission this weekend, and unfortunately he didn't get it done. But for Martin Truex Jr., that was win number 4.
I think even without the bad pit stop, he still wins the race.
Well, he had the same problem on Saturday in the Xfinity race. You know, he had a driving through too many pit boxes penalty. He had to come back in. He had 8 fewer laps on Saturday to get back to the front of the field, and he still did it. So I wasn't thinking that was going to be the problem on Sunday. I thought he was going to get back up there and win again.
Truex could probably just go to South Beach right now and just chill there for the rest of the season until everyone joins him at Homestead and races for a championship. So.
Yeah. Although he did say in the media center on Sunday, yes, they could coast to Homestead right now. But he doesn't want to. And I think if you go back to last year, Tyler, the problems he had, he won 2 of the first 3 races in the chase, and then the second round he struggled and he missed it. So I don't think they're wanting to let up at this point.
They probably won't coast, but even if they run into trouble, they're still going to be all right. Today we head to Michigan.
Yes.
We're going to be practicing today at
and qualifying today.
11:30 a.m.
Back to
Eastern
a normal
time.
schedule.
Yep.
So.
And all that is what we're going to talk about on the show today. We're also going to talk to Michigan's own Jeff Striegle. He lives in Michigan. He also anchors the Cup broadcast for us. He will also be on practice, so Jeff Striegle will talk to him today. We'll also play Under the Rock. How many have I gotten in a row here? No. I got Billy Joel last week.
And that was it.
And then I missed whoever that guy was the week before.
I forget who we had before.
Charles Bronson?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Still never heard of him. What did he do? Anyways,
let's go to break.
We'll also play my favorite game.
Our new favorite game.
Because I can't stand playing the Under the Rock game. My favorite game, Sideswipe, is after the break. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
One bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
Online and on the air, MRN is live from the track on MRN.com and the MRN app. Check out all MRN race broadcasts, pole qualifying and practices, plus exclusive motorsports programming live on your computer or mobile device. Or go to MRN.com to find your local radio station's online stream. Don't miss a second of NASCAR racing action. Listen live online at MRN.com, the MRN app, or your local station.
Hey race fans, visit Camping World in Concord for convenient one-stop shopping on outdoor accessories, top brand RVs, and quality service. Buy an RV and enroll in the Good Sam Elite loyalty program, offering incentives valued at over $2,000. Browse over 10,000 Camping World products and accessories in America's largest RV dealer network. Plus, shop the top manufacturers such as Coleman, Keystone, Newmar, Thor Motor Coach, Winnebago, and many more. America's #1 RV dealer has something for everyone. Visit Camping World in Concord today.
See dealer for full offer details and disclaimers.
Like 'em or strike 'em. The inside line goes in for another side swipe. Here's Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
Again, as I said, my favorite game show of the week because I do not have to guess random characters in history like we do on Under the Rock. This game, if you have not watched us before, we basically swipe left, or we swipe right, just like you would on any of your dating apps that Robbie's on. And you pick a fantasy driver. So let's start with Robbie Mays. I will give him the floor first.
Okay.
Daryl Smith, who's his pick?
We're looking at Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott at Michigan. I think this is pretty simple. Guy's been there 3 times in the Cup Series. He's finished second all 3 times. He was quick last week at Watkins Glen. He's had some struggles recently, but I felt like he kind of got his mojo back a little bit last week at Watkins Glen. Going to Michigan this weekend, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be another top 5 car, so I'm going to swipe right on Chase Elliott this weekend.
Does Chase Elliott win his first race of his career at Michigan this weekend?
I don't think it's going to be this weekend. I
Okay.
really don't. I think Michigan's a track where you can win your first race, but I think there are going to be some better cars this weekend. But I'm still going to swipe right on Chase Elliott, though.
I heard some interesting comments from Todd Gordon, who's Joey Logano's crew chief, and he said that he has never seen anyone drive Michigan like Chase Elliott does. Big arcs into the corners, gets so much speed coming off of the corners, and it takes advantage of the long straightaways, and it's worked for him. I mean, he has 3 second-place finishes in his career.
Well, I think about, when Chase's dad, Bill, ran at Michigan, and he was winning races driving for Harry Melling back in the 80s, and he was always good at this track. So I think, like father or like son. Some of those tracks when Chase first started in the Xfinity Series a few years ago, I felt like the ones that Bill raced on, that he was able to teach him a little bit about it, he would ran better at those tracks. So Michigan's one of those that he runs pretty well.
All right, Daryl, who's my pick?
All right, we're looking at Jamie McMurray.
Jamie McMurray. Top 5 the last time we were at Michigan. Chip Ganassi Racing in general was great the last time we were there. Jamie finished 5th. Of course, his teammate Kyle Larson has yet to win or yet to lose on a 2-mile racetrack here in the past year. I think if Ganassi shows the same amount of speed they had the last time in Michigan in the spring, that Jamie could be a good pick, especially for his dollar amount. But I'm going to swipe no on Jamie this week. I don't think Ganassi has the speed they did the last time we were there. Though we'll see what happens, but I'm swiping no on Jamie Mack this week.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
What's next?
All right, let's do Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Okay. I'm going to have to put on a helmet and pass for this one. I'm swiping no on Dale Jr. The races this year where I thought he would be competitive, he has not been. The races this year where I thought he wouldn't be competitive, he's not been. They just don't have it right now. Had another engine issue at Watkins Glen last week. That coming off, Pocono, where they weren't great again. I'm just going to have to swipe no on Dale Jr. this weekend. And I'm sorry, Junior Nation. Believe me, I want to see him win. I've been an Earnhardt fan for my entire life, and I want to see him win in his last season and make the playoffs. But I just don't think it's in the cards, so I'm swiping no on Dale Jr.
He was 9th in the spring, though, so that might be his last top 10. No?
I think yeah, probably.
Just rings a bell. But anyways, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 9th the last time we were there. He has won a couple fuel mileage races there, hasn't he?
He's won a couple of races
Batman
where
car?
I don't think it was fuel mileage. He was just fast that day. Both days he won here.
Oh,
So,
anyways,
yeah.
Dale Jr., he's been good at Michigan over the years, but I agree with Robbie. All right, my pick.
All right, let's go Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was 8th in the spring at Michigan. I wrote that down because that's a pretty surprising effort from that group. I think that for his price range that he would be a decent start. I mean, considering they have speed, decent speed for Roush Fenway Racing. Right now they finished 8th in the spring. I'm going to swipe, this is going to be interesting, I'm going to swipe right on Stenhouse this week. Just because of his price range, I think he could be a middle road guy for you that could get you a pretty good start this week. So I'm going to say yes on Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
I think I would agree with that, actually. You mentioned he finished 8th here in the spring. He was 27th last year, but he's had a lot of really good finishes at Michigan over the years. So I kind of like that Stenhouse pick. I'll agree with you swiping right on Stenhouse.
All right, Robbie's final pick.
Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski. Okay. So finished 16th here back in the spring, but before that, I mean, if you look at his finishes, he was 3rd in this race last year, 4th last spring, 9th, 6th, 8th, 12th, and 2nd. in his last 10 races at Michigan International Speedway. I think Brad, he has never won at his home racetrack. I think he's itching to get that win. He hasn't won in quite a while this season. He's got 2 wins. I think Martinsville was his last win. I think Brad, that group right now, and I mentioned it last week, going to Watkins Glen and I believe to Pocono before that, they've got nothing to lose. They're securely in the playoffs. I'm going to swipe right on Brad Keselowski this weekend. I disagree. I think you look at guys in his price range, I think you have at least 5 cars that are going to be better than him this week. I think Kyle Larson. I think his teammate Joey Logano is going to be better than him. I mean, Logano was 3rd the last time we were there. Both the Team Penske cars have really struggled, especially Logano since his win in Richmond was encumbered. I think Denny Hamlin will be better than Brad Keselowski this week, and of course, I think the 18 and the 78 are going to be better than him. So, well, yeah, those are what 5, 6 cars. You can't put all those people on your team. I think you put those guys instead of Brad Keselowski. If you're in a league where you have a limited number of picks, I think this might be a good week to start Brad. Yeah, I guess I'll agree with that. Yeah. All right, my final pick.
Your final pick is Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney. The last time we were there, he finished 25th. Not a great result from Blaney. This goes back to the Penske deal again. I mean, Blaney probably has had the most speed in that camp, which has been quite surprising. His numbers at Michigan, 17th. He finished 4th. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on Blaney. I don't think I'll start Blaney this week. I'm going to swipe no. I don't think he would be I think he would be a better pick than Brad Keselowski, in my opinion, but I'm not going to start him this week just because there's better options. The thing about Ryan Blaney is he's been good this year, but he's also been inconsistent this year. He was 8th last week at Watkins Glen, had a chance to win, but they had to stop for fuel with 4 laps to go. He has not had back-to-back top 10 finishes this season. Yeah. So that's my only thing about Blaney is just inconsistency, although they have been good. But I did mention he finished 4th in this race last year, so think about that. And you mentioned the Watkins Glen last week. If he knew how to save fuel as good as Martin Truex Jr., he likely could have won that race. And that's just something that you have to learn as your career progresses. I mean, in your opinion, who's the best driver at saving fuel? Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski. It took Brad a while, but once he figured it out, he became one of the best in the business. Blaney is now Brad's teammate at Team Penske, so I think those two guys should definitely get together, compare notes, and maybe Blaney will win a fuel mileage race one day. All right, there's your side swipe. Wow, I said swide swipe. Well, last week you also said Westy Wallace. I checked the tape. Who's must starts this week? You got to look at the 78 again. You got to look at the 18 again. One driver we didn't bring up in Sideswipe, which I'm kind of disappointed Darrell didn't say, is Kyle Larson, who won the last 2 races at Michigan. But since he won at Michigan, Tyler, in the spring, it's just been a series of inconsistency, disappointing performances. So do you start Kyle Larson this weekend? Yes, I do. Okay. And the reason is it was a stat that I just said a little bit ago. He has yet to lose on a 2-mile racetrack in the past year. He won, at Michigan a year ago. Mm-hmm. He then won at Auto Club at the start of the year. And then he won at Michigan in the spring. And I believe he led 96 laps in that race. You mentioned Truex. He led 62 laps in that race. Truex actually won both of those stages. Michigan is not a great racetrack for Martin Truex Jr., but with the speed right now, I'd definitely start Martin Truex Jr. And Kyle Busch, I mean, this guy is good anywhere we go right now as far as leading laps. I'm keeping Kyle Busch for the fact that I have him $1 cheaper right now, and we're going to 2 of his by far best racetracks. We're going to Bristol and we're going to Richmond coming up. Even Darlington, he's been pretty good pretty good at Darlington over the years. He's won there before. I'm keeping Kyle Busch just because of Bristol and Richmond. I think he can potentially win both those races, and even maybe Michigan and Darlington as well. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about some of Kyle's Toyota teammates, Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. Both of those guys, another strong performances at Watkins Glen. I haven't started either one of them, Tyler, but I'm getting close to wanting to put one of those guys on my team. Yeah, and Suarez has been impressing me. I mean, he grew up racing on road courses, so I don't know if you can look at last week, but even the week before he was pretty good as well. 4 straight top 10s. I would definitely look at Suarez, especially what is he priced at? Do you even know? He's in that 18-19 range, I think. That might be a little steep for Suarez, just because he's not going to lead you a ton of laps. I personally, in the 18 and 19 range, I was going to pick Ryan. I would pick Ryan Blaney over Suarez. Sure. But you never know. You never know, especially with the way the Toyota's running right now. Suarez could have a good week. If you look at you mentioned Kyle Busch's Toyota teammates. I personally believe Denny Hamlin's a better start this week than both of them. I think, you look back to in the spring, Hamlin finished 4th. He's kind of slowly starting to come on here with speed. Kenseth struggled the last time we were there. He finished 11th. So I don't know if I would start Kenseth. I don't know anybody else in the Toyota camp, but I probably would think about starting Denny Hamlin. But I think Truex and Kyle Busch are definitely must starts.
What about Jimmy Johnson?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Jimmy Johnson finished 10th the last time we were there.
Yeah.
But for his price range, you've got to find someone who's going to lead laps. And I think the 18 and the 78 and the 42, those three will potentially lead laps this weekend.
All right.
All right. Jeff Striegle is on the line. We're going to talk to him next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Steve Post, co-host of MRN's Wing Nation. Join Aaron Evernham and me every Tuesday at noon Eastern on MRN.com and on the MRN app. And join Ashley Strummy and me on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Eastern on MAV TV. We talk to the biggest names in sprint cars and give you the latest news and race results from dirt tracks around the country. MRN's Wing Nation on MRN.com, the MRN app, and MAV TV.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Bagley. Join me every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. This one-hour interactive show takes you beyond the typical storylines in NASCAR with the stars of the sport.
The celebration's been fun. I mean, afterwards, I guess I didn't leave the track until my 1:30, so I caught it with my crew in South Beach.
NASCAR Live also gives you in-depth analysis with MRN's top personalities.
Because for me, the decisive moment of this championship was when...
Check it out, NASCAR Live, this Tuesday night at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
Welcome back to the Inside Line.
Looking forward to the Pure Michigan 400 this weekend, Robbie Mays, especially because we get to go to the land of Jeff Striegle because he lives in Michigan. He's on the line now. He's the anchor for the Motor Racing Network's Cup Series. You're going to hear him in practice here shortly. Striegle, how are you, man?
I'm good. Is that the only reason I'm on is because I live in this state, or is it because I'm... Yeah, all right. Well, that's fine.
Well, that and we had your phone number, so that's why we called you today.
You picked
I know,
up.
I was always like 10th on the list, but that's okay.
You picked up. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff, Michigan is quickly becoming one of my favorite racetracks, not just for the racing, but also for the region. Beautiful up in Michigan this time of year. Michigan on Sunday, the last two times we were here, it was the 42 of Kyle Larson in Victory Lane. We'll go ahead and start this conversation off with him. What do you think about Kyle Larson? Struggled a little bit since he won here in June, but he still should have a quick car on Sunday.
You know, what's interesting about this, Robbie and Tyler, is that I've never been a fan of looking back at what somebody did. I always want to look at what they're doing now. But when, I kind of did a little bit of work on this, and I thought, man, when I take a look at everybody's stats, how do you not go back and take a look at what they did recently here? And the two names that I know you guys have been talking about are Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. How do you look any further? There's a lot of people who want to be in Victory Lane, probably a lot of people that you want to pick, but how do you overlook what those two drivers have done at Michigan the last 2 and the last 3 times they were there?
Yeah, and it was only in June the last time, so it's, 2 months ago. It wasn't that long ago that we were there. And likely probably going to see somewhere around the same temperatures, maybe a little bit warmer this weekend. You mentioned guys like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, but a guy who I want to talk about, it would be huge if he won this weekend because he's won a race this year already, but it doesn't count. And that's Joey Logano. They are struggling right now very badly. And this is one of their best racetracks. Do you think Joey Logano, Todd Gordon, the crew chief, they can turn it around this weekend in Michigan?
No. I mean, if you just want to ask me, do I think this is somebody that you've got to have on your fantasy team, I've got to be honest with you, right? That's what you're looking for.
Right. That's what we like to have, yeah.
Well, and that's a team that won here in 2016. You would think that when Team Penske rolls into MIS, that Brad and Joey would just bubble to the top of the list, but I don't see it for Joey. And again, it doesn't have anything to do with history books. It has to do with on-track performance week in and week out ever since Richmond. And what they have not accomplished has to be factored into what you might expect to see on Michigan. If it hadn't been for the way that they had been running of late, yeah, you'd put them at the top of the list. But I don't think you can overlook the fact that they are struggling for reasons that we just don't know. Obviously, they don't either. They would have fixed it, and they would have already won a race. They have to win. We know that. Does it happen on Sunday? If it's a yes or no question, I'd have to say no.
He'll probably win a lot of money in Vegas if he does win.
Yeah, he's 95 points outside of the playoffs right now, so basically he's got to win. You know, Jeff, in the past we've seen Michigan come down to fuel mileage. Todd Gordon's a smart guy. You know, maybe they could roll the dice and play some fuel mileage, but again, I just don't see him being even in position to be able to do that. Do you?
Well, I think that what you just hit on is something that I think everybody has to take into consideration when trying to pick their team for this weekend. The problem is we don't know if it's going to come down to fuel mileage. If it does, I mean, you could see Michael McDowell in victory lane. If it doesn't come down to fuel mileage, you're probably going to see a Chase Elliott or a Kyle Larson, maybe a Jamie McMurray running at the front of the field. But that's that great wild card, isn't it? If it comes down to fuel mileage, I think you could take a look at some of the drivers on the outside or right on that bubble. McMurray, Logano, Clint Boyer. They have to do something different than everybody else because they have to win. That's all they care about. They don't care about stage points. They don't care about how good it looks on the racetrack. If they can find a way to get to victory lane, that's all they care about. And so I would guess that given the opportunity, they're going to try different strategies unlike everybody else and hope that maybe they can, if they can't do it through performance, back their way into victory lane. It'll count the same on Monday.
Let's talk about two guys who are arguably the best cars in the sport right now, and that's Martin Truex Jr., the 78. He won at the Glen, and Kyle Busch, who probably should have won at the Glen. Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. this weekend at Michigan, not great numbers, but they are the two fastest cars. Would you look at those two this weekend on your fantasy team?
You can't overlook them, and I like the way you set that up, Tyler. They are not good at Michigan when you go back and take a look at what they've accomplished over the last 3, 4, 5 years. They have no wins. They don't have strong consecutive top 5 finishes. They're all over the board. But how do you not take a hard look at Kyle Busch and Truex, who right now, in my opinion, you can argue it, the two best teams since the beginning of the year. Kyle Busch just doesn't have the wins to show for it. We've talked about that over and over and over again. To see him win at Michigan wouldn't surprise any of us. To see Truex dominate at Michigan wouldn't surprise any of us. But if it does happen, it will be something that we haven't seen by either of those two drivers in quite some time. And for Truex, I think it would be his first win there. So, do you put all your money on the fact that they're good now, but they're not necessarily good at Michigan? That's probably the, like you said, the Vegas deal. That's a $20,000 question.
Yep, and Truex won both stages the last time we were there. He led 62 laps, but his best finish in the last 3 races is 6th, and that came in the spring. And Kyle Busch's best finish in the last 3 races is 7th. That came in the spring.
I wouldn't be surprised if Truex doesn't go out there and just dominate the race.
I wouldn't either.
And that's where I always kind of come back to how much stock do you put in, what their finishing positions have been, last year or last June or the last 10 races or whatever. I just don't know how much that's going to factor into this because Truex has dominated virtually. I'll exaggerate a little bit, but he's dominated everywhere he's gone. Why would we think that he wouldn't dominate again this weekend at Michigan? And to your point, he had the car to beat at Michigan. He just didn't end up in victory lane.
Right. Well, we'll find out if he is going to have a chance to do that, practicing later on today, qualifying back on Friday this week, just like the way it should be. Jeff, this is the point of the week where we ask our guest who's going to win. So who's going to be in victory lane Sunday in the Pure Michigan 400?
Well, I see no reason to believe that it can't be Kyle Larson yet again. I see no reason why the 24 doesn't go well. I know you're asking me a straight-up question. I still think that you cannot stop laughing. I also think that Brad he will do anything in his power to win at Michigan. He's never won here before. He grew up an hour away from the racetrack. At some point, Brad is going to win at Michigan. Does it happen on Sunday? I'll tell you on Monday. I like the 78. I like the 42. I like the 24. I like the 2. There you go.
Wow, he didn't even pick a winner out of all that. After all that,
I said the 42, Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. All right.
All right.
And the crazy part about this, and you're from Michigan, is that a Michigan-born driver has never won at Michigan, which is unbelievable to me.
Well, it is, and Brad knows that. And, when we start, real quickly, I don't know how much time you got left, but, there are 2 other names that I think are drivers that we have to watch here. And one of them is from Michigan, and that is Eric Jones. The other one is from Monterrey, Mexico, and that is Suarez. And with what they have done of late, I would not be surprised at all to see those 2 drivers running inside the top 5 all afternoon long. Now, can they come out of there with a win? I don't know. But do I think that they are going to be contenders for the win on Sunday? Yes. And isn't it exciting to see some of this young talent rising to the top? And these 2 guys, young drivers, are really on the game right now, and I think they're going to put on a show.
Very much so. We appreciate the time, Striegle. Good stuff. We'll talk to you in a little bit when we do practice coverage here shortly.
All right, boys. I'll see you soon.
See you, Jeff.
Jeff Striegle, everyone, born and raised in Michigan, and we head to the Pure Michigan 400 this weekend. After the break, we'll have Under the Rock. I'll probably get hit by it, and then we'll have Rango's picks. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Hi, this is Joey Meyer, championship spotter, adequate pilot, and co-host of MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Join Woody Kane and I every Monday at noon on MRN.com as we debate the biggest stories in NASCAR.
Back for a year again is Kyle Petty.
I always laugh when we talk about a race car driver designing a race car track. Let me do it. Oh, there it was. I just designed one. Woo, I made a circle.
Log in every Monday at noon or anytime on demand at MRN.com for MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. I'm Robbie Mays. He's
What's up, y'all?
Tyler Burnett. And put your phone away.
Shut up.
I feel like you're cheating.
I am.
He's cheating for our favorite game of the week, Under a Rock or Tyler.
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
I really wish you guys could see the motions we make when that sweeper is up right there. Okay, so you don't like musicians, you don't like actors. This is a person from history.
No.
From 20th century United States history. That's your clue.
I'm in trouble if I don't get this right.
Name this. Yes, you are. Name this person, please. So Donald, Darrell, let's cue it up. Let's play Under Rock or Tyler.
I'm just going to completely guess.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Is it that mobster from Chicago? What's his name? Al Pacino?
No, it's not Al Pacino.
What's his name?
Is that your answer?
What's his name? Forget. It's the mobster from Chicago, though, right?
What's his name?
I don't know.
All right, judges, does that count?
Okay. What's his name?
That is Al Capone.
Al Capone. Oh.
Yeah.
Who's Al
Fat,
Pacino?
drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Who's Al Pacino?
An actor.
Is he an actor that played?
No. Throw the rock.
Oh, Al Capone. I was close.
Not even remotely close.
If I would have just said Mobster from Chicago, would I have got it right?
Nope. Rango. I needed the name. You can't blame me for that one. That wasn't on me. I had nothing to do with this.
What did what
Judges
does Al
said no.
Capone have to do with Michigan? Nothing?
We're going to Michigan, and I'm not opening that because I know exactly what's in there, Daryl.
Oh, no.
I know exactly what is in that envelope.
What's in here?
Just open it up.
Oh, no. Oh, Robbie, you keep getting glitter bombed by
So for
everyone.
some reason, somebody thinks it's precious to send me glitter, and I hate glitter. So this is number 4, and Daryl, you're going down for this.
Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Eric Jones, Michael McDowell, Paul Menard. The winner is Martin Truex Jr. The make is Chevrolet. So that is Rango's team. It's okay. I mean, I'm not sure about Paul Menard. McDowell will be all right, but Elliott, Larson, Jones, I think you're making a big mistake not starting Kyle Busch or Martin Truex Jr. All right, Robbie Mays, glitter bomb, your winner.
We just had the carpets cleaned, and now there's glitter all over the building. I'm going Brad Keselowski.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir. Brad Keselowski. And stop sending me glitter.
Brad Keselowski.
Glitter ruins everything, like this show and Christmas and everything else. So
I'm going Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I figured you would.
The reason why I'm going Kyle Busch is because before, well, we had these, ridiculous statements that we were trying to make here, 4 weeks ago, and I said Kyle Busch is going to win 3 races before the playoffs. I'm running out of time here.
Yeah. Quickly.
I have 1. So he needs to win a couple more. Anyways,
Tell us
final
what's
thoughts.
on, looking forward to going to Michigan. Tell us what's on the radio this weekend.
Practice at 11:30. That's coming up. 5 p.m. today is qualifying. The Pure Michigan 400 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. And then, of course, the Xfinity race is Saturday at 3 from Mid-Ohio. We'll talk to you next week. Where are we going?
Bristol.
Bristol, baby.
Bristol, baby.
We're racing at Bristol next week, and Kyle Busch will probably win that again. So we'll see you next week as we talk to you on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Stop sending me glitter.
You've been listening to the Inside Line presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.